Hello everyone, my name is Kelvin and I'm going to be making this short video to enlighten us, tell us and make us understand how to handle null values in our query as well as how to use COALESCE and NULLIF. So literally I'm just going to tell us how to go through these functions, how to apply them in our query and what they actually mean. As well as I will also be talking about safe divides and telling us what safe divide actually means. Okay, so just as you're actually following this video, you can actually take notes, pay attention to it. You can watch it again to understand better if you wish. So let's just go down into it fast. So I have actually written down some query and I had to highlight some bullet points or key points on what we are actually looking at directly. So here we're actually talking about what is null in SQL. So I said null means nothing or unknown. So when we see null in our result, it doesn't mean zero. Null is not zero. Null is just an unknown value, a missing data, or you could actually call it a missing data. Okay, so when we are having null, it means there is a missing data. We are also going to know how to replace missing amounts with zero to avoid the null, that is to avoid the missing data. So instead of we seeing null in our result, we will see how we can actually replace that null with zero to actually, because you know zero is a figure. So 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 2 plus 0 is 3. 0 is a figure. Okay. So we're also going to know what is COALESCE and how it works. So let's just go down into that. So we are going to be using a very familiar table. Yes, we'll be using a familiar table, which is the dex.trade table. So let me just go right down into it. Yes, dex.trade. So here, the purpose of this query, I'm actually trying to find the total value, the total USD value for each token pair on this given project, because here in this query, we have chosen to work with the blockchain optimism. So optimism has different projects under it and token pairs that are traded upon. So we are going to actually know the total USD volume, get the unique traders, okay, and also know the average trading value. In all of this, we are actually going to present it by using COALESCE, NULL and NULLIF, and also getting to make us understand what safe divide is. So like I said, this is from the dex.trade table, which is this. This is the blockchain here, project. So you have to make sure, as you know, that you are selecting the right columns to actually give you the accurate results. So here, write coalesce. So we want to get the, remember I said we want to get the total USD volume. So definitely we are going to say sum. Then you can click here, amount USD. Okay, this will be other alias as total volume USD. Okay, so we have written this one, comma, the first one. So the second, right again, I'm going to explain it after I've written the query. Okay, count. So here we want to know the number of unique traders, okay, that trade on this token pair. So we are going to write distinct takers. Okay, so as unique traders. So the third one, this third one is going to, we are going to use it to understand safe divide. So just come with me. COALESCE. So here we're actually trying to divide the total volume, the total USD volume over the unique traders to get the average trade value. Okay, so let me, so we are summing amount USD divided by, so we are bringing this divided by null if count. Okay, so we have written these three queries. So we had our alias as average trade value. Okay, so I think we are now going to run our query. Okay, I think our network is, okay. Okay, I think we should just hold on. It's just from the site. So let me explain this, okay? So now we are actually want to know what this COALESCE is. So what does this COALESCE do? What does this COALESCE do? COALESCE converts every possible null in a colon. It converts every possible null you find in a colon or in a result to zero. I'm just trying to use the easiest way to explain. So the COALESCE converts every possible null value you find in a colon to zero. Okay? So here we are summing, you can look at the cursor, here we are summing the amount USD. So we are actually, the amount USD values for the past 30 days of a certain token pair. Okay, we are trying to get the total amount USD for each token pair for different projects. So we want to know the amount USD. So there might be situations whereby the data that this colon is having might have null values, which can actually affect our results, affect our dashboard, cause breakage. Okay, so once there is a null value, this COALESCE comes in to prevent that error. So when this COALESCE is available, it converts that null to zero. So if there is any value here when you are summing the total amount USD, if there's any null value, it converts it to zero. That's why there's comma zero here. So if there is maybe value 1, 3, 4, null, 5, 2, as it's adding all those things, that null, it converts it to zero. That is actually the function of this COALESCE. So let's go to the second line. Here we are actually trying to count distinct takers. Okay, that is, we want to know the unique traders. We know what this count function does, and distinct, we know what it does. It actually counts just each traders or each address. It doesn't count it twice. So this COALESCE now, in case in that list of data there is a null value, they can say that a null, like remember I said null means nothing or unknown. It can also mean missing data, right? So once there is actually a null in a data set, it can affect the final result. So for it not to affect the final result, we add this COALESCE. So once it is counting the unique traders, if it finds any null in the list, it converts it to zero. Okay, so that there will not be any error. So this COALESCE, let's go to the third part. Now we understand what how null works, what null does, and we now understand what COALESCE does. So this line we actually explain the safe divide and also NULLIF. Now there's something I want to do. I want us to, okay, let me try to split this. Just watch me. Let me split this. So for better understanding. Okay. Let's just assume. I just want to break it apart to explain it one by one. So here we're actually trying to, if you can see, this is this. Then count this thing takers, this is it. So literally, this and this are just functions. Okay. But the main subject to this result we are about to get now is dependent on this and this. That is dependent on the total volume USD and unique traders. So here for example, this will actually count the unique traders. Okay, it will count the unique traders, give it a value. Let's assume maybe the unique traders has a value. Then it will count the total amount of USD here. Now I hope we have understood this part. We've also understood this part. Now let me make it clearer to us. Now if this is being counted and it comes out that there is zero, right? It comes out that this thing taker here, okay, it gives us zero. If it gives us zero, if there is zero in it, okay, this null if then comes to play, because in mathematics, for example, 10 divided by 0 is error, right? Any number divided by 0 is error. So now, how this null if works is, if it is trying to say, if this counts, if this unique trader value is 0, if, that is why this null if is here. If this unique trader value is 0, right? If it is 0, convert it to null. So the null if is actually kind of opposite of what this COALESCE does in a way. Okay, so if you count this and you are getting 0, okay, if you count this and you are getting 0, first of all, this whole bracket signifies that if there is any null, you convert that null to this 0 here. Okay, you convert that null to this 0. Now, if everything here, if this is 0 and this is 0, for example, this null if now we actually now make that 0 to stand out as null. So we'll be having something like, let me just give an example. So we'll be having something like okay, we're having something like this divided by, do you get? So if this is 0, okay, 0 comma 0, it means that if it is 0, impute null. Because if this is a value, maybe 10,000, 10,000 divided by 0 will give us error. So it can't give us a perfect result. Let me remove this. It can't give us a perfect result. So if this is 0, impute null. Okay? If this is 0, impute null. Then let me bring all this back so that I can now explain it better. Let me bring it back to explain better. Just come with me. Come with me. Come with me. Okay. So now we've understood what this sum USD does. We've understood when we have counted this, we have counted the distinct um, traders. If it is 0, we can't, that means here is 0, right? This will have a value. So if this has a value and here is 0, it converts it to null. So if it converts it to null because of this null if. So if it is 0, that is what this null if does. It only attacks when the denominator is 0. So if this denominator, this is the numerator, this is the denominator. So if this denominator is 0, comes down to be 0, okay, then we actually now put it as null. Okay, so now that we now put it as null, if we have if we have a value like this now, okay, if we have a value like this, remember this COALESCE is now here. Remember what I said here? If there is a null, remember in this place now, if you are counting any value here and you see null, you convert it to 0, right? That is what will still happen here. Let me put a bracket here so that you understand. So now imagine this line now. If this null is here, remember at the first place I said COALESCE converts every null to 0. So here this null already has affected this whole result. So it's now going to be the total sum over null will be equal to 0. That is why this other 0 is here. Because once COALESCE comes together with null, it converts it to 0. Okay, it just converts the whole result to 0. So I hope that this short video must have done justice to we understanding how COALESCE, NULL and NULLIF work. So this is actually now going to give us a safe divide. So that is why we now call this a safe divide, because it's not going to give us an error. It's just going to give us 0 at the end of the day. It's just going to give us 0 at the end of the day. Instead of it giving us an error due to the fact that you are dividing the numerator by the denominator 0, which can be 0, right? But this NULLIF now, we convert that 0 to null, because if it is 0, it's going to throw error in your result. But with null, it's just going to give us 0. So it's either it gives you error or it gives you 0. Do you see the difference? It's either it gives you error or it gives you 0. So this having a safe divide, meaning at the end of the day you'll be having 0 as an answer. Remember I said at the beginning of this video, 0 is a figure, right? You'll be having 0 as an answer instead of error. So with this short video, I hope you'll be able to understand, or you have been able to understand null, NULLIF, and also COALESCE, with its inclusion of how to how to operate or how to have a safe divide. Thank you, and you can always drop feedback or ask questions. So I think I will have to actually run this query to actually see if it runs. Okay. Okay, sorry. I think this is an issue. Okay. So the query ran. So we can see it here. So this is blockchain column. These are the projects, these are the token pairs. So this total volume USD is what this token pair has amassed. Same thing with other token pairs. Then these are the various unique traders for the past 30 days. Okay, so I hope with this you've been able to actually understand the concept well. Thank you.